Hi and welcome to this demonstration. My name is Björn and I'm going to show you now the solution that we'll be creating in the Understanding SharePoint Journal issue number 4. That issue, by the way, is it'll deal primarily with SharePoint Designer workflow. So I'll teach you everything you need to know, or at least I'll introduce you to a lot of the stuff that you'll need to know to actually build workflows in SharePoint Designer. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you actually two solutions. I'm going to show you the main solution that we'll be creating throughout several of the chapters in the issue, and then I'm going to show you an additional bonus solution here that shows us something that well, at least a lot of people will claim that it's not really possible to do it, and that's iterating through several items or all items in a list and making some kind of change or perform a workflow on all the items in a list. So what I got here is I have set up a test list and I have a workflow already set up. I'm not going to go through all the steps here. So I'm just going to add some sample data here, and I have 20 sample items, and I'm editing this in the datasheet mode just to make editing a lot faster. And as you can see here, I have a title, and the workflow will just append the word done to the title here. And I have a processed checkbox here, and I'm using that to just track the progress of the different workflows. You don't really need it, but it's easier to set up. So once we go back now into the standard view, we can fire off the workflow, and we can fire it off on any of the items in the list. And once we start that workflow, and you will see that all the items are actually updated as well. And as I said, if we refresh, all the items are actually completed here, and you can see that the done is appended here. So that's one of the little neat tricks that I'll teach you in the issue. The other solution that we'll be creating is based on a simple order processing system, and the idea here is that you have one order reception list which will receive the emails from a customer, and then that list will start a new workflow which will create an orders item, and in the orders list we'll have a separate workflow, and that'll just process the order. The process here, the main workflow here, it will send a receipt back to the customer, and then we'll create a task for the administrator, and once that task is completed, and the task is basically just to update the order sum. Once that task is completed, we'll wait for a few moments just to ensure that we haven't made any errors, and then we'll send a specially formatted email to the customer depending on the size of the order. So the larger the order, the more the more thankful we'll be. So I'll show you that now. First thing to do is to send an email, and since I don't have the complete email system set up here, I'm just going to send all this directly through my IIS server, and I'm using SMTP, and I'm just pasting in the message that I created earlier here. So once that email enters the list, we'll see that it appears here in the order reception. Now, as you notice, there aren't any items here yet, and the reason for that is that sending email to SharePoint, that's not an immediate action. SharePoint will use a timer job which runs every minute or so, and it'll basically just check if they're sending you emails, and it'll put them in there correctly. So as you can see here, it hasn't actually sent the email yet. And we'll see that in just a moment. I just wanted to explain why we're using a separate reception list. And the reason for that is that I'm using a custom list for the orders list, and the custom list template in SharePoint, that really doesn't support incoming email at all. You need to develop a custom email receiver, and that basically requires you to do some Visual Studio development work. And it's not really difficult. I'll show you all that in another demonstration. But the point is that we will want to use a separate list, and in this list I'm using an announcement list which does support incoming email. You can set up incoming email if you go to the list settings. As you can see here, I've already set up the email alias. You can set up all the communication settings here, and just give the list an email address. And you should also, if you're receiving anonymous email, you have to set up that you want to accept the incoming email from any sender here. So if you go back to the list now, the email should be here. As you can see now, we have the new order received here, and we'll just start the workflow here. And the only thing this workflow will really do is it will create the new order object inside the orders list. So we'll just start this now. it'll just take half a second to actually complete that workflow. So if you go into the orders list now, you'll see that we have the order already completed here. So the first thing I want to do, I wanted to start the main workflow here. And the first thing you should notice is that I've customized the initiation form here. The initiation form is just an ASPX page, so you can design that any way you like. If you take a look at SharePoint Designer and open that initiation form, you can add layout, and you can add design, and you can add additional controls, or pretty much do whatever you want. You can even ask the customer or the initiator to actually supply you with some additional information if you need or want that for your workflow processing. So once we start this workflow now, you'll see that it changes the status of the process order into in progress. We can go into this workflow now and check on the status. And you'll see that we now have a new task assigned to the administrator. So if we go into that task now and edit it to complete it, you'll see that we'll request information from the administrator to provide the total for this order. You can also click into the order to actually see the data here. And as you can see, the customer is requesting 10 widgets, so we need to update the order sum, and well, these are huge widgets, so we'll charge $550 for each, so it'll be a total of $5,500. These are really cool widgets, right? And the reason why I'm using such a high number is I want to show you how we can use conditional branching in the workflow to send a specialized email when the order is above $5,000. So we'll just complete this task now. And as I said, the next thing that will happen, first of all, you notice that it doesn't update the workflow history immediately. We'll just need to refresh the page here, and you can see now that the history is updated. And the next step here in this workflow is actually to wait for a period of time. And you can use this to make sure that, well, the customer, or you can review the order in case you made some error, or you can do pretty much anything. And the thing I wanted to show you here is that I'm pausing here for 1 minute, and well, as we'll probably notice in a few moments, even if we wait for a minute, it doesn't actually complete the workflow. And the reason for that is that the time control of workflows inside SharePoint, it only has a resolution of about 5 minutes, and the reason for that is that the timer control is performed by a timer job. And that timer job only runs every 5 minutes. So even if we now probably waited for a minute or so, we can refresh and it'll still say pausing. And we'll just need to wait for a few moments here to make sure that it actually updates. So we'll just wait here, and we'll hit refresh, and well, it's still waiting here. As I said, the timing here will always be off by a matter of, well, anywhere between 1 and 4 minutes. So if you set the pausing for 1 minute, it'll be probably between 1 and 5 minutes break. So if we just refresh here, well, now we can see it's done here. It says pausing complete. And now you can see that the next task here is actually to send an email to the customer, and it's sending a special thank you to the customer because the order is between $5,000 and $10,000. So if the order had been smaller, it would have sent just the receipt email, and if it was bigger than 10,000, it would send a message to the key account manager to actually handle that order. So this is the order that you'll be creating throughout Understanding SharePoint Journal number 4, and if you want to be notified when that issue releases, it'll probably be somewhere in late May. You can sign up for the mailing list, and the address is on the right-hand side of the video now. And if you have questions, or if you have issues that you want to resolve, please contact us, and I'll try to answer all your questions, and maybe we'll make a separate issue of the Understanding SharePoint Journal for that problem that you have. So thank you for listening in, and I hope to see you again soon.